some plan, but up to.
Yeah.
I know.
I was supposed to go to
Airports are trigger.
And then there's a couple.
Nick,
Yeah,
Fernando,
I bet you guys email
Trying to test my computer to see if I can see if my
No, I
camera.
understand.
Oh my gosh.
There he is.
He's tried to move out, but he was, well, I guess
Wow,
he did
you're
when
the
he was mom's
Jetsons?
house.
Yeah.
Good Jetsons.
Stayed in
We're in the
the
world of progress. Is that what it's called, the world of progress?
Oh.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Can you hear us, Jason?
I sure can.
Ah, okay. Deb, are you there?
I am, thank you.
Okay. Well, I think we can officially call this meeting to order.
Wait just a minute.
Huh?
Let me catch you. Let
No,
me
it's
catch
not working. I can't.
you. Cut off.
Good, we'll officially call this meeting to order. Chris Butler is traveling, so he will not be here. Looks like Elizabeth's on the other one. Make sure you had confirmation Elizabeth's not. She's not. Attending, okay. And so let's call roll. Looks like we have plenty for everyone. So Todd Kennedy, I'm present. Jason Baumgartner,
Present.
Jonathan Warren. Here. Ash is not here. Darren Young.
Here.
Thank you. Yes, sir. Got Gary Rasko.
Here.
Justine Jackson Ricketts. Here. Staff Steve Boyer.
Here.
Nikki Edwards. Here. Lindsay Young.
Here.
Tracy Cornett.
Here.
Deb Jones. She's here. Ms. Smith.
Here.
Here.
So we have a full staff and we have enough for a quorum. So did everybody get a chance to look at the agenda for today's meeting? Did we get an approval for that?
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor? Say aye. All opposed, like sign. Okay, moving on to the minutes. Has everyone had a chance, if they have not prior to this, to go through last month's minutes? Any questions or discussion on that? If not, somebody can make a motion to approve as presented.
So moved.
We have a motion on the table. Do I have a second?
Second.
Have a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Motion carried. Okay, so looks like the next on the agenda is, I'm sorry I didn't mention that you guys were here earlier. You're kind of blocked too. We have some visitors. April Collins, Director, Blue Ridge Crossroads Small Business Development Center, and Grayson Landcare, and Ashland Shrewsbury, and who's the third? And who else do we have here?
Mr. Cole Harris here.
Okay. So, looks like April Collins is first on the agenda for presentation.
Thank you. My name is April Collins, and I'm the director of the Small Business Development Center at Crossroads. I've been there since August, so I took over for Mandy Archer, who had been previously there for about 15 years. So I know it's took me a little bit of time to get up here, but I'm here today. Hopefully everyone knows about the Small Business Development Center. For those of you that don't know, we offer free counseling services to businesses within the area. Our center covers Grayson County, Carroll County, the city of Galax, Wood County, the town of Woodville, and Bland. So we're a two-person staff, so we are pretty busy. The reason I'm here today is Michelle, the director of Grayson Land Care, reached out to me, and Grayson Land Care is going to be offering a $1,500 grant program to small businesses that have been established in Grayson County. She and I touched base a little bit because there were some questions that we had, but the application is almost through. They hope to have it approved by their next meeting, which will be next month. Once it's approved, it will be in the paper for open applications. It'll also be on their website. The SBDC staff, we are going to try to promote it within our client network, and the reason I'm here is to ask y'all to promote it to business owners here in Grayson County. Are there any questions?
Stipulations.
They're still working on that. It has to be an established business, and that's all we've got for right now. So as long as they're an established business, not really a startup, then they can make application. It's $1,500, and I wouldn't say that it is. What Michelle has told me is that they will just have to do a status update at 6 months. So the hope was that we would have it ready by January for submission by March the 1st, with money being awarded by April and project implementation by October. But we kind of missed the boat. There's been some illness and we've kind of gotten behind. So we hope to have the approval of the application by next month, and then kind of the timetables up in the air at that point.
This is just for town independence in Grayson County.
It is only for Grayson County, yes.
It's in established business in what sector? Any sector?
Any sector was what we talked about. But again, in conversation we've had in the last couple of days, they want to center more on what their general organizational purpose and views are. So they really want to promote community, economy, and environment. So any businesses that kind of go in line with that would be best to apply. And so there will be an application, like I said, the application, they'll get reviewed, and then they'll make the announcement and award.
How many grant applications are they willing to fund?
It's one award,
Just one.
just one for this year. Originally, the amount Michelle and I talked about was going to be a little bit more. Grayson Land Care has had this grant program for a while, but it's not been directed towards the business community. They've done it through the high school. So this year they're going to try this new way, and so they're going to have a $1,500 grant for businesses, and then they're going to also do the $1,500 grant within the high school. And so interest and participation will really dictate how this moves for the future.
Is the grant in a high school scholarship? Or
It's a grant for entrepreneurship,
okay.
so
So there's be one award.
for businesses, yes, but there's going to be one for the schools too for this year.
I saw in the paper the town is kind of changing, opening up there. It's looking at spreading it out more instead of one or two. They're doing a smaller amount more, so it kind of aligns with what you're doing.
Any more questions? And I will try to keep you all up to date when I have more information, but like I said, Michelle and I have been kind of bouncing this ball back for a little bit to try to get this nailed down, so.
Is there any stipulations on like use of funds, like purpose or use?
It's still going through the application process. They're kind of narrowing that down.
Does the board understand what April does at SBDC? You guys know? You understand?
I think
You want a little elevator pitch? Yeah.
it never hurts. I think I remember maybe a little bit helping new business with
Well-
plans and starting.
Thanks for putting me on
Yeah,
the spot.
you're
It's okay.
Hey,
It's all
anytime
right.
you're
We're like-
front of class,
I get it, and I'm really laid back, so you can't rattle me for the most part. So what I do at the SBDC, so I am the director, but I'm also the lead counselor. So I work with startups, established businesses and end-of-life businesses, and we work through the whole process. So for startups, I counsel them on their business idea. We go through what we call, it's a growth wheel, and so it's a segmented wheel that has a bunch of different topics that we cover with our startup businesses. And that you're in that phase of business, we're just trying to see, is your idea viable? Can we get you funded if you need funding? We work through, with our financial resources. I have standard banks, your everyday local banks, but then I also work with a couple CDFIs. So I work with one out of Abington, and I brought one new one on from Charlottesville. And so what CDFIs are, they're community development funding institutions. And so they can lend to people who don't have the best credit or need that startup assistance. So, for startups, that's kind of what we do. For established businesses, it can be anything. So I work with some businesses on their taxes, helping them review what their profit and losses are. We talk about marketing strategies. So with my established businesses, some of them are, developing new products or new services. And so we talk about how with that new product or service, what marketing strategies they need to implement to make sure they're successful. Transitional businesses, we work on transition plans. So when a business owner decides, I'm done with this, I wanted to turn it over to my employee, we work on that transition plan and the contracts and those sort of things with them. Is that a good elevator pitch?
Yeah.
So is that service free?
It is
to
free.
anyone?
It is free to anyone in our service area. So yes, so please share it with people. That's the biggest problem I have found that we have had is we've been there for 15 years, but most people don't know we're there. So we have moved in Crossroads. We are now upstairs, but we are still in Crossroads. But my goal as the director is to be out more in the community and trying to get our name out there because I just don't have enough to do now. Because it is such an important service. So prior to being a director, I worked with the SBDC. So I appreciate the guidance and them being there for small businesses.
Do you have new business cards or brochures?
I have business cards in my book bag. I can leave some or hand them out now, whichever you want.
I'd like to get some.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Ashley, you're
I'm going to start it off and then turn it over to Ashlyn. I'm Nicole Hare. I serve as the executive director for the Mountain Rogers Regional Partnership. We are your regional economic development organization covering Bland, Carroll, Grayson, Smith, and Wood County and the city of Galax. I did leave our last annual report at your desk that shows the kind of work that we do. Ashlyn's going to be here today. Again, she serves as your economic development manager for our region. She's here to directly support you all in economic development efforts. And I started that strategic planning process with you all. She finished that up for us. So I'm going to turn it over to Ashlyn though.
Good evening. Thank you all for having me. Again, I'm Ashlyn Shrewsbury, and as Nicole mentioned, I'm the Economic Development Manager for Mount Rogers Regional Partnership. I also serve as the Director for the Blue Ridge Crossroads Economic Development Authority, and we directly serve Grayson County, Carroll County, and the city of Galax. And as many of you probably attended the Economic Development 101 event we did last July, you know that we went through a strategic planning process with a consultant, and they presented some recommendations and strategic action steps. You all should have gotten a copy of that report, and I apologize it's been a little while, but I wanted to follow up with you all and offer a little bit of assistance on what we can help with that came out of those recommendations. And then I also just wanted to come again and let you all know that we're here to support you all with any special projects. So any ideas you all may have or projects you want to work on that we can help, we'd be happy to do that as well. So if you all will just bear with me, I'll go through a couple of the recommendations and just some ideas on how we can help with those. So one of the first recommendations that came out of the strategic plan process was that the Grayson County EDA Board had established a small business growth strategy regarding tourism and agribusiness with a low interest microloan funding process. I'm not sure how much you all have worked with this program or how much funding there is for that right now. But we recently did work with Carroll County to develop a grant application for any kind of grant request that they receive. We would be happy to do the same thing for you all. And with any stipulations you all may have on what you're looking for on those grant requests or the microloan program as you all have, we'd be happy to develop out some kind of grant or loan program for that as well. Then the second recommendation was redevelopment opportunities exist within Grayson County and the town of Independence and should be pursued more rigorously. And their recommendation was that the county EDA board and your focus group cited several examples that are lacking within the areas of child care centers and health clinics. So one of the ways that we can help on that is that we are currently, we've just finished up some of our funding requests for grants to do a regional site study within all 6 of our localities that we support. And so we hope this year to roll that out and identify properties for future development. They are likely to be larger parcels, but through that process, we will also be able to identify some smaller parcels that maybe will work for you all. We also plan to do an inventory of available sites and buildings throughout the next year. And so from that, we may be able to partner together and work with you all. And if you all identify any existing vacant buildings or vacant land parcels that you all think are of interest for some of your projects, we'd be happy to work on that. Again, Brasida is a regional industrial facilities authority. It allows your communities within that to come together to compile your money to get more out of your project than maybe you could do on your own. So again, that's another avenue for that. The third recommendation was that the Grayson County EDA board should become a collaborative partner with Brasida and Go Virginia Region 1 in growing its own small business opportunities. And the recommendation for that was developing a small business incubator innovation facility. And they suggested possibly in downtown Independence or in an industrial park. We do have some partners that are currently looking at this. And so that may be something that we can come back to you all on if you don't already have some ideas for moving that forward. We may be able to work with our partners and with you all and kind of come to a collaborative effort on that. The fourth recommendation was that the town of Independence is an integral part of the revitalization efforts for Grayson County EDA. And the recommendation was to establish better coordination and collaboration with the Independence town manager. That will be more towards you all, how involved you want to get on that and how you want to work together with them, but we will be happy to collaborate and set up any kind of communication or anything you all want to work on with that. We'll be happy to be there and be a party. And then the final recommendation was that the Grayson County EDA board has carefully thought up meaningful economic development projects for the county to accomplish, and it would be helpful to establish an onboarding process for new board. Happy to share that Virginia Tech is going to be hosting some economic development 101 trainings. However, those will likely not be to the fall, but they will be, I believe, half-day courses, and any new board members would be able to attend those just to get an idea on what economic development is and their roles on the EDA board. We are also happy to help. Anytime you have any new members, we will be happy to put something together to kind of explain what our role is and how we help you all and anything like that we can do. And so those are just the recommendations that came out of those strategic plans, a couple ideas on how we can help you all facilitate those. And again, we're here to partner with you all and help. So any special projects you all have that you would like our assistance with, we'll be happy to assist. You may have any questions?
You mentioned you're working with some partners already on item 3.
Yes.
Can you talk to that a little bit?
Well, I mean, I can speak to it. Okay. So, as you all may be familiar with, the Crossroads Institute was recently bought or transferred ownership to the Whitfield Community College. And I think that one of their goals, becoming the new owners of that, is to turn it into more of an incubator space for small businesses. So maybe not so much long-term tenants, but some of the incubator where they can bring the businesses in, work with them, and then have them go out on their own. And so we're still trying to see what that looks like with them, but being that Grayson County, Carroll County, and Galex all work really well together, especially under the Brasida umbrella, that may be an opportunity for you all to partner and be a party to that as well. But again, I don't have any, defined things for that, but that's definitely something that they're looking at.
And they felt like it was important that we had a site here that we couldn't just share in the site at Crossroads.
At that time, I don't think the college was in ownership of the Crossroads Institute, so the consultants may have not known that that was an option, and so they were kind of just looking county specific.
To me, from the cost standpoint
Yes.
and the manning standpoint, so it just makes sense. Everyone that from here utilizes Galex anyway. Restaurants, Walmart, and it's just part of Grayson County, so it just.
So
I don't
anytime
feel
we
like it would
collaborate
isolate-
and work
I don't feel like it
together.
would isolate people.
Yeah.
And would keep them from starting up by having to travel there,
And any information we get on that process, we'll be happy to share.
especially if it means we can't do it here versus having something there.
Mhm.
Definitely something we want to look into. And then I know when we met before, that item 5, we all felt like this is something that, as a board, that we definitely wanted to have this in place. You know, as we reach the end of our terms or whenever, this has never been done. So we feel real strongly like we want to leave it better than we found it. And so that's one place that we feel like as people are moving on and you have new onboarding, I think is what you call it.
Mhm.
Well, I feel like whatever we need to do to engage you guys to be sure that this happens and we get some kind of standardization, or I hate to say SOPs, or I don't know what terminology you guys use, but I feel like that's important for this board because, as you lose members, it could quickly, the face could change, and you guys are oddly enough going to have to be what keeps it consistent. And that's really why you're in place, I guess. If I understand that right, Steve, Mitch, do you see kind of that as what would happen as this board moves forward as part of that program?
I think it could be a vital step and help them make that happen.
Because when we're all gone, they'll still be here.
Oh,
Well, we, this board, not the, yeah, you guys too, but still. It's not your job to train the board. It's your job to guide us.
I think that, if I'm understanding your point correctly, setting up a consistent process and procedure are always helpful and really very helpful when someone new is coming on. And so an onboarding process is very reasonable. It's not been a practice that we've had in the county at all with any position or anything. I always say the last jobs I went to before, they hand you this huge book as you walk in and go, hey, study this every night for the next week or two. Because there's certain things that happen. You break glass, pull lever, go do this when this happens. And so everything here is long, word of mouth, or just OJT. And there is some very helpful steps that you take to.
It took us almost a year just to get organized. You know what it felt like, and that was a long time.
I think a standardized grant application like was developed for Carroll would be really beneficial
I do too.
here as well.
I do too.
And that would be part of the consistency moving forward. Those forms tend to outlast people
Yeah,
a lot of times.
Sure.
Mhm.
and that's, I would feel much better about that. I felt like.
Well, if you're working with other EDAs or similar organizations,
Yeah.
there's always an opportunity to share and say, what are we missing? What don't we know
Because
that we could be
the
doing?
direction obviously can change as you change board members, but still you have this general guideline, and it all needs to align with the county board, and then you guys have all that information. And I just think that, I don't know, whatever needs to happen there, and we'll talk more to Chris when he gets back too. I feel like, don't you think everybody felt like that was really?
Which, Jason started like an application.
He did,
I remember
an
that,
application.
so-
Right, but I'm talking more than just
General
that.
onboard stuff.
I'm talking about exactly, when you come on this board, what that means and what our goals are and what's our mission and what are we currently aligned. Some of the things Gary talked about too, we're moving, it looks like, more into this ARS, which goes along with one of these items too, which you guys can partner with us and with the Housing Development Authority. So you guys can be involved with that. Sounds like there's some overlap, but some good overlap as far as identifying properties. And then they help identify properties. And, it's going to take more than us meeting for an hour to 2 hours once a month to get this stuff done. And I see you guys being able to help in that, as well as partnering with the Housing Development Authority.
Yeah.
So
Anywhere we can help.
those two
Right.
areas, I think, really align with where we're heading. I think out of those.
A couple things as far as just the onboarding process. To another board that I'm on, nonprofit, but we had a kind of a board-wide training on what it actually means to be on a nonprofit board and what very informative, very good. But maybe something maybe something that you guys could help with, putting on some kind of educational program like that for not just our board, but for all the EDAs and regions. That, okay, this is what it actually means for it to be a board member. And, you know, these are the risks involved, and these are the things you're supposed to do, and it's the commitment that you're signing up for. Because I know for me, coming on boards a while back, not just this board, but you really don't know what you're getting into. You're just like, okay, I'm on board now. That's great. But now what? And the other thing is a random question about number 3. Or the incubator and small business opportunities. Is there a place around that you guys know of, or it could be in the new Crossroads, that is like a rental location for office space? So if somebody who works from home or had their own small business and just needed an office, just need a place to work and, you know, whatever.
There is space in there that you can rent hourly, workspace there. You have access to internet, printer, and all that within that facility. Because we work with some other companies and other businesses that just need a space for a day or two or whatever. So there is opportunity there as well for that. And I don't know if there's any other actual office, but like there's a co-working space there.
I think over in Sparta, over at the community college center over there, they have some basically offices you can rent by month or for extended periods. That would be your office, but that would be your location if somebody needed to meet with a customer or come in or whatever.
I think that's a little bit more of a challenge, but we can definitely check with WCC and their long-term goals in that facility too.
Yeah, or even not even there, just somewhere in general.
Yeah.
To borrow on Darren's thought on the training, you know, our first meeting annually in January is nothing, really, we can't hold any business because we have to elect new officers. It would be a great time to do an annual training, similar to what you guys could come into that meeting. And wouldn't, even those of us that are carrying into a new term, won't hurt us to get that training again and just reemphasize our direction and that we're still aligned with, and then make sure Steve sees that we're still aligned with his other boards. And, you know, we're learning too, there's some overlap, you know, like some of the things with the daycare that we've been looking at and talking about, you know, just kind of figuring out there's a whole nother organization that's trying to tackle that, that probably is better suited, and we need to let them do that. You know, things like that, just that kind of alignment, I think is important to us and keeps, you know, as Steve and Mitch just keep the machine old and keep us all moving in the right direction and keep everybody aligned. And if we pick up a new face or two, it'll help shorten the learning curve.
Absolutely.
We'll be happy to work on that. We'll work with staff and we'll get something developed. And that way, if you give new members in the meantime, we'll be happy to work with them. And then, like you mentioned, in January with the annual meeting, we'll be happy to come and talk to the president. And I will send a copy of the grant application we prepared for Carroll County to Steve, and he can distribute to you all, and we can see what tweaks you may want, what exactly you're all looking for, if it's more of a loan than a grant, and we can work on that.
I think maybe, if I understood from Chris, I think next month, Jimmy will be here to meet with ARS, so if one of you guys could be here, I think that would be great to see what kind of synergy we have, where we can help each other, and I feel strongly that's the direction that we're headed currently.
Yeah. It'd be great to work on that project.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Let us know if you have any more questions.
Okay. Now we'll move on to the financial report.
The most fun part of the meeting.
Sorry, it was moved. Was it moved this time? Was it?
I know, usually I'm up before everything else. I was supposed to leave early for my daughter's birthday, but I was like, okay, I'll stick around for a little bit. Okay.
Does everybody have one? I think I have two.
Anybody else?
I've been missing one.
Okay, you need to take us home.
Take us home. Okay. Thank you for business card too. Thank you. This one's a big one. Is that okay. So I believe the last reported information on the financials, and let me just preface this with Chris and I sat down and had a conversation about wanting to go over some policies and procedures in relation to the financial. And we are going to get together, between now and next month's meeting and go over the projects and how he feels like it's best for those to be presented to you all while incorporating this spreadsheet. And basically, we're gonna bridge the gap between my way of thinking, his way of thinking, and hopefully present something that's a little bit more easily understood for everyone.
Okay.
The first thing, of course, we have the OCall rent on the 23rd, line 80. Since last meeting, we have the grant, and I failed to put the description as, that's the $2,800 on the, Lindsay, help me.
I'm
It's
sorry,
not-
what?
Oh, sorry, are you, the sheep,
Back, what?
Line 81.
it's the sheep grant, right? And I don't know what else to call it. We had the wool baler and the sheep. That $2,800 was reimbursement for
The Blue Ridge Plateau?
Blue Ridge Plateau.
It's sheep.
Okay. Yes,
Is that the one we're
that's,
talking about?
yeah. It's like sheep pathology
The sheep research.
research, thank you. We have two grants. One was the wool baler and one was the sheep pathology. Using those two.
Yeah, that's the amount you received from AFID.
Yes.
It was 2,800 of 75, right?
Yes.
That whole, okay,
Yes.
yes.
Next, I actually went ahead and reimbursed the EDA for the $46,000 on line 76.
Nice.
Yes, based on our last meeting. And the only other two expenditures were McAllister Mills for $75,000. We received their information on their employment and they met the guidelines, so we released $75,000 in a check to McAllister Mills, and also Angela doing business as, what was the business name?
It's Angie's.
Angie's LLC.
No, it's sip and taste.
It's Angie's.
Sip and taste.
Angie's Second.
I think she was, is that what you were asking?
Yeah, but it's not sip and taste.
It's not?
It's Angie's LLC, doing business as Angie's Second Taste.
I thought you were asking that.
So you got your check.
Not yet.
Okay, today.
We got
All
it.
right.
It's right here.
Okay.
So, and that is all. It basically has a remaining balance for the EDA of $780,582.34.
Thank you. Any questions for Nikki?
Record.
Thank you.
Any questions for Nikki? Anybody got questions?
You gotta go.
She's got to
Can we get a motion to accept?
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All approved, say aye. All opposed, like sign. Motion carried. Financials are approved.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nikki. Thank you
Very
for looking into that.
Oh, yeah, and we're gonna work further. It's just,
Yeah.
it's taking a little time. Learning curve is steep here in Grayson.
Okay, there's, no old business on the agenda. Let's move.
We could just, maybe when we have time, rehash some of the old, what we've done in the past projects, like the HVAC stuff, that
Yeah.
actually, or the wool baler, has that been used and everything, just get updates periodically on some of the projects.
Updates on old projects.
Yeah,
I went through Freeze the other day and noticed that the health center started running, a lot of cars there and a lot of, kind of, you do this and say, hey, we had a little part in,
the X-ray.
Yeah, the X-ray machine, and like I said, not gonna be bad to have some updates and follow up.
It's good just to have some closure to it.
Yeah, when the wool baler has been used.
I'm sorry?
I said, and the wool baler was used this past year
Good.
in August.
People happy.
Oh, yeah. They would have never gotten all that wool baled if they didn't have that new one.
How many sheep farmers are there now in Grayson County?
You had to ask that
There's a
number, I
lot.
don't know off the top of my head.
There is a lot.
Yeah, there's more.
Really?
Yeah, there's more than,
There's probably more than you think. I don't know that I'd call it a lot.
Kevin will answer that next month when he comes to give his updates.
Yeah, and I've got the poundage written down of the pounds of wool that they baled and the value of it and all that
My
stuff.
memory
So
serves me correctly, when we asked about the baler and how many families, and he said it'd be 30 to 40 families that he thought would benefit from the baler. Do you think that was?
Yeah, and it's not just people here, it's people from all the surrounding counties and even other counties over that come and bring their wool here because they can get it baled quickly and efficiently and
Yeah.
shipped out. So they bring it here and then they spend money while they're here.
it's the closest location for them to bring to get it baled.
Spend money doing what?
Fuel and lunch and
Fuel and food.
Snacks.
I thought there was something else.
Yeah.
Just being in the county.
just being here.
Yeah.
So cattle's number one or trees, or as far as agricultural business
Within the county or
Yeah.
within the state?
in the county?
Within the county, I'd have to look at the dollars on it. Did I bring that?
That's okay.
Where I live, it's trees.
I would say, yeah, it's trees,
Since
but there's a lot of cattle.
There's a-
Under West Farm, we're doing, went from 48 million to 76
And what? On trees?
million on the.
No, the overall ag
Cattle.
impact, no, that was ag products.
Yeah, that was ag products, right?
Ag products went from 40 million,
48 million
48
Nice.
million to 76 million,
since 2017.
What does
17.
that mean?
And we lost 100 farms.
What does that mean? What- I don't understand.
The total income dollars from agricultural products sold from Grayson County.
Say it one more time. The total dollars.
You're testing my
it's-
brain here.
You tested mine, I tell you that.
Gross sales from all the ag products sold in Grayson County, added all up, was
Added all up.
$76 million.
Jump from 48 to 76.
Figuring out how to tax
Of
it.
course, I've heard cattle prices are through the roof, so that's part of it. Tree prices.
Well, that
probably
just
not.
happened.
That just happened?
Yeah. Yeah. cattle
Trees have
prices-
been up for the last several.
Yeah, trees have been strong for the past 5-6 years.
Cattle just have got in the last year bringing what they, I don't know if they're even bringing what they should or not.
Yeah.
Oh, they are.
I
Well,
don't know if they're still bringing what they should, but they're bringing better.
We just got the numbers though last week. They just put out numbers last week, I think it was. So, and I think Kevin is gonna get on the agenda to give just a little bit of an update. And I told him that the EDA does support ag and it supports ag business. There is no issue there, but it's good for you guys to know some of those
It would
things.
be interesting in all his stuff.
Yeah.
That he
it's such
gave. 100 less farms since 2017, but went from 48 to 76.
100 less farms.
I think it was 40 million. I don't think it was 48. It almost doubled.
It was 47 something, I think. I just rounded it off to 48.
You know, it's obviously noteworthy. Anything goes up. You know,
I know some of the tree growers in our area are buying more
40.8.
and more property.
Maybe
Buying more
instead of
trees.
48.
So, I mean, that kind of brings an issue of land utilization too, because obviously there's 100 less farms. The ones who are here are getting bigger, but they're not the ones buying all the farmland. Like a lot of it's getting, 100 acres goes up for sale. Really, if you look at highest and best use, it could be, 10-acre lots, depending on where it's at and what its view is. That's not ever gonna come back into agriculture.
Actually, most of the farms was, matter of fact, I think I remember the number 213 was 0 to 49 acres, or 1 to 49 acres, whatever, was the highest. And then the next one was 60 to whatever,
Yeah.
was 208 or something.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we got a lot of smaller farms.
Yeah, and most people that are buying those size tracks are not farmers. They're buying they want to build something on it. It's staggering the amount of land that's sold in the last 3 years, under 50 acres.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's amazing. And it's Grayson, Carroll, Wythe County, but Grayson, it's amazing. Yeah, but anyway, it's a very,
Whitewater, I don't know the status with Whitewater, but I know they bought property. Now I heard that they may have bought more property. I don't know.
They didn't buy anything else, did they?
They bought 2 large tracts in White Top, and they're looking at property in Abingdon.
the last time we met with him, he sounded very conservative on ambitions.
Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, sounds like they were just reinvesting on keeping nature, is what it sounded like to me.
Yeah, they have money they need to get off their books.
Yeah,
And land's a good investment.
it's a long-term play, it sounded like.
Is it a good investment?
Well, they're not making any more of it.
Yeah.
Well, you better invest, put the money in the bank.
Well, that's dead money, Vince. That's dead.
It's 5% now.
It's not a bank, it's a CD at that
Well, that's what I'm
point.
Do you have a contact for, what I tried calling somebody, and I just got voicemail, I don't get any answer. Do you have a
I
person?
speak with Jeff
Jeff.
Wise, who is the CEO from time to time. I try not to bother him much, but I'll have his contact.
okay, good.
I'll get it to you.
Sure, thank you.
Yeah, he was very open and pointed in saying what made it so special. You know, like, if you overdeveloped it, it would take away what draws people to it, so it's just nature to some point, you know, but it was interesting to see.
Todd, just to let everybody know, the rec part, they've established like a little committee, they're working on plans to eventually address maybe a wellness center here. And so apparently the EDA possibly owns the land that they're looking at, so that's in the micro.
We own land.
I found that out from Jada.
Didn't know either. Is it an industrial
The
Industrial park?
Yeah, industrial park's owned by the.
part of the EDA?
Yeah.
For that-
There's stipulations on that too. I don't know if you can put a wellness center there. I think it has to be industry.
That's the graded off site that's up.
And that could be defined as, maybe it is, you know, the health industry.
Yeah,
So say it again, so the actually owns,
The EDA, the industrial park out here
Yep,
is
yep,
assigned to the EDA.
it's assigned.
Yeah, assigned to the EDA. They, yeah. They
owned by the
take care of
county, but under our control, is that
under
what you mean?
your- Yeah,
under the
So is Mount Rogers
auspices.
School, right, Mitch?
Hmm?
So is Mount Rogers School.
I think Mount Rogers School now, the EDA is turned over to, well,
And I wonder if
I know
that's,
it is. I know it's turned over to the EDA because we put out fillers for trying to get somebody to take it. And the way we did that was we had to put it under the EDA.
in order to operate like that, you had to sell something and
Yeah.
it has to fall under the EDA, I would
Under
say.
the EDA because the county can't do that.
So that makes sense.
Mitch, get with Jada, but she seemed to think that that could happen, so
Well,
I don't know.
it could, you know, it could. That's just, I know it was put there for developing into industries like River Ridge and like Tritex and the different things there. But it could, you possibly could put a spin to.
And there again, if it aligns with the county, if the board, if that aligns with part of their goals, then
They were talking about like wanting to have like, what Darren was mentioning, like maybe a couple office spaces in it that could be rented and like meeting area.
So it could end up smelling like a business opportunity.
Something about like Marion, I guess what it sounds like the Marion's Wellness Center that they have. You know, there's some meeting rooms, conference rooms, and of course there's a couple private,
So that could be the health industry.
interesting. Well, good. I mean, I'm glad, like I said, I was glad. I don't read the paper a lot, but I saw it through the glass and I said something about EDA and I was like, wait a minute, EDA is extending, giving grants. And I was, wait a minute, what we, you know, but it was in town and that they're looking to help the startup process like what we've been looking at, which is great. I mean, the more jobs that we're all working on trying to create.
The survey that was done years ago when I first came to work here, and there was a survey that went around the high schoolers, our senior citizens, well, basically just all our citizens in high school, whatever. The number one thing that was needed, everybody agreed, was a health and wellness center.
There's gonna be another survey coming out. It's gonna be on paper.
But that was the number one thing. If you go back and look in the archive and see, you'll see that the number one wellness center in Grayson County.
Interesting.
I wonder if that would also be space, if something like that opened up for daycare facility. or daycare as well.
Well, there are some wellness centers that you can have like short term.
Short term, yeah.
So like you go and you get in or whatever. and you take
Yes,
your lunch
see.
for an hour.
It would seem to be a fit with it.
That was talked about too, like having like an outfitted facility that could be leased or something to a private entity. So,
Good.
I think it's sort of what, you know, some of the supervisors were talking about, you know, potentially with Baywood and maybe Elk Creek, and more of something that could encompass some of that, but something maybe everybody could get behind. It's in the making processes.
Did you say something everybody can get behind?
I'd like to see that with you.
Correct, that maybe more people will get behind.
Well, they say the only constant's change, and it's one thing, I think the next 10 years are gonna change. I'm just glad that there's groups that are trying to shape it into the right direction, because things are gonna change. And I like, you know, I like the focus the county has and that we have with the property and daycare and the wellness center and the job creation. I mean, that's what's gonna keep it to where we can.
Well, another thing that goes along with daycare is after school care. I just talked to a parent, shaking your head,
Yeah.
after, talked to a parent just this week, last week, it was just Tuesday, just last week, I talked to a parent that said, our kids aging out of the after-school program, and we got a problem.
So I fixed the buddy and say that, they wanna do that, something like that as well, because they were tossing out some numbers, from like the 21st century program that they had, and just how much it was utilized.
All right, anything else, anybody?
I just want to give you all a little bit of a heads up. We just approved, Mary Joubert. They, have bought Appalachian Horseback Riding Adventures, and they were approved for the tourism zone. And she is getting a business plan together, and she's hoping to be able to present at the next EDA meeting. And, just a reminder that we do have in the tourism zone priority consideration for grants and low interest loans. This is an established business that has been very successful. The guy who owned it is over in Smith County, but it's operated in Grayson County. She is going to be a Grayson County resident. So she wants to expand her operations.
Where's it located?
She, somewhere over on Wilson Highways where she's going to be located, but they operate off of Fairwood. They're at the old,
On the left, like,
The scales?
the scales.
yeah, it's like,
That's where
in
they
the
operate.
season, you'll see their sign up.
Down on the bottom before you go up, before you head up to the scales.
Yes, where that barn is and
Uh-huh.
all that in the
There's
national
a barn,
forest.
and you'll see horses there in the season.
And so they lease that property from the national forest. And they do trail rides. She's wanting to add more horses and employ more people. And I'll tell you, he stayed busy.
You need to get back to Linda.
Yeah, be sure to get on the agenda. And,
Well, I will when I know for sure Mary's
I'll
ready.
let Chris know to look for that too.
She,
Should we give her?
you
should we give her a
created,
copy of
somebody
that?
created
Should we
a
give her a
form.
copy of that application?
Yeah,
Jason,
That would be good.
there is a form out there.
I didn't know there was.
I think I'll, got a copy of it.
Yeah, Jason let us talk for about 2 or 3 hours and then came out with this neat form.
Yeah.
Remember that?
How about this?
And it all, what would
Is
be?
that form finalized?
I was letting the process work out.
Yeah.
Brainstorming.
Yeah.
That's why I haven't used, I mean, I don't know if it's finalized. Is it finalized? I mean, are you guys happy with whatever he said?
I think it would be better than what we're using.
I
So we should
think-
just start
I
and then
think
it
modify it.
I think they took his form and someone, maybe somebody, y'all critiqued it a little bit. And
Chris was taking it.
yeah, and I
Did you and
think,
Chris ever get together and
I don't know where it went from there.
I'll.
I resubmitted the edits and then where it went after that, I don't know.
Okay, I'll follow up on that. I'll check with Chris and then we need to get it to you, right?
Can you give it to both of us, please?
Probably everybody needs a copy of it.
Everybody will have a copy of that. If you give it to Linda, then you'll always have a copy.
There you go. Good plan. Now that's a plan. That's an SOP. Okay, guys, good meeting.
So could I just add a couple of things that, just based on your conversations, you may want to make a note of
Your
whenever you're
comments are,
ready.
your comments are always welcome. They're always very helpful and informative. Go ahead.
So these are funding opportunities that I'm sort of hearing you guys talk about might be applicable to what you're thinking in your plan. One of them would be $100,000 that the EDA could get for no match requirement. This is through USDA rural development. And this would basically then allow you to be able to loan funds to those emerging, growing small businesses, low interest rates, which then obviously goes back into the UDA to kind of refresh your existing lending program. Those are due between September and February, on a rolling basis during that time of the year. So that's one thing to consider. The other is, I just heard you guys talk about the wellness center, which I know has been talked about since I started working with you guys. There is funding available for feasibility. So let's say there's maybe one of the old schools or another building, or maybe you think between two of you, where in the county is the best location for it to be. There is funding for that. That one does have a $5,000 match, and you could get between $50,000 and $75,000 of technical assistance, which is basically that feasibility business plan sort of thing to see how you could make that happen.
Okay.
Are we applying for a wellspring grants, any additional ones? Do you know if there's anything in the works on that? Because
We may be.
the impact grant just started up, I think.
Yeah.
Right now, it's not until June 1st, but the impact, which is a big one, would seem like something.
Yeah, we'll definitely.
Tracy and I have talked about several.
I'll follow up with Chris on these grants too, and then talk to Steve and Mitch and see if definitely if there's money available there, we'll take a look at it.
100,000 for the USDA.
That's a no-brainer, I think.
And that's loan funds that come back and they come back and stay in the EDA. So
Yes, make that decision right now.
we can.
Yeah, you got money there.
Can we take two?
How much time, what do you think it would cost for us to procure that grant of your time and money?
I'm gonna say less than 20 hours.
Yeah, if you're, because I wasn't gonna push that forward without, talking to you about for grants, but, so somebody needs to make a motion, and that sounds like you said, that's too good to leave on the table.
We still have time to do that, didn't you say it's September to February?
You guys, you can talk with.
Yeah.
When is it, Dale, what's the timeline?
If you're looking at the one for providing loans at low interest rates,
Yeah.
that one I believe goes from September through February. I'll check on it one more time, but that was the latest that I saw.
So we're.
And basically, when it opens, you guys, because it is on a rolling basis, it behooves you to do it sooner, way sooner than waiting until February, because once the funds are gone, they're gone.
So I can't make a motion, so either, if you want
Do
to.
you make, if it's not gonna be till September.
But I will check on that one more time and let you guys know.
We can wait till next month and discuss it if you want to, or it's.
I think it's a good idea, but I just don't want it to get lost in the wash between here and September.
Yeah. So, can we put it in the minutes to be on the agenda for next month to specifically discuss the $100,000 USDA grant? That way we won't decide of it. I'll give Chris a chance.
I just said put this on the March agenda.
Thank you, Deb.
Or the other option is to send an email out to the board as respond via email saying, if you want to move forward, please let us know. Here's blah, blah, blah. Give you a quick email. Or you make it, I don't care.
We can do it out there.
I mean, why don't we just,
Well, you
if
got.
we got the people to do it, then why don't we just do it, get it approved and.
We're not big, it's not big money.
I think you're looking at under, you're looking at a couple $1,000s investment to get 100,000.
Yeah.
Somebody just needs to put a motion out on the table.
I'm making my notes look good.
Sorry, Mitch. That's the discussion first.
I'll make a motion that we devote the necessary funds to attempt to secure the $1,000 USDA Board Development grant.
So we have a motion on the table. Is there any further discussion? Okay. Do we have a second? No, I'm just making sure.
Oh,
Justin said no.
Yeah.
I heard her talking, I thought she said.
No, just making sure
I'll second that.
she was. Gary, seconds. All in favor, say aye. All opposed? Yep. So that's unanimous. All opposed, like sign. So that passes. There you go, Deb. Get us $100,000.
Okay, no problem. Now, know that I am gonna be asking for point people, 1 or 2 people from your EDA, because we'll have to do some, I'll have a bunch of questions, to tell a compelling story about what you guys wanna do. So, that will involve me hearing directly from some of you guys in order to tell that story.
Sure. No problem. Okay. Great. Even better meeting. Now I just need somebody wants to end it.
I'll make a motion to adjourn this meeting.
Jonathan so moves. Got a second?
Second.
Gary seconds. Meeting adjourned. Okay. Thanks, guys.
Got a record for